Hi, I'm Adam Lane Smith, an attachment specialist, and today I want to talk to you about how attachment changes your identity. By the end of this video, you should understand how your identity is formed and how you can become someone that you respect. Today, I want to talk to you, first of all, about what identity is. Now, our society has changed our perspective of identity quite a bit over the last couple of decades. Today, our identity is fashioned by innate traits about ourselves, things that we are born with, our skin color, whatever else, whatever traits you might want to think about. Those are what we fashion an identity from. We say, I am blank, and we list the number of things that we are, that we identify as. Our identity is built. It's just assembled, cobbled together from various things that we feel like. If we feel like a poet, we feel like an author, whatever we might feel like, innate traits like our skin color, maybe our relationship status that we exist in. I am a son, I am a father, whatever that might be. These are things that you cobble together to create an identity of who you are, but it doesn't really define who you are. It's a snapshot of pieces of you. It's a profile. It's not an identity, and it's not the identity that we have understood in our society and all over the earth, what humans really call themselves. Typically, what people in a healthy society call themselves is, my identity is drawn from my accomplishments. Here are my accomplishments. Here are my choices I have made. They define themselves through the choices that they make and the experiences they have and what lessons they have pulled from those experiences and what they then go on to do because of those lessons. One of the most stark things here in America is to call yourself a survivor of something. That's your identity. Really, what has happened is someone has done something to you, or you have experienced a disease, and you just didn't die. Now, that's not to minimize the impact or to diminish in any way the effort it takes not to die sometimes. A cancer survivor, though, that's not an identity. Someone who goes out and advises other people who've suffered with cancer, now that's an identity. That's a characteristic. That's a distinguishing, defining choice. Older American generations and most cultures on Earth have defined themselves through the choices they have made. Many times in spite of those bad things that have happened. The things that we use to define ourselves now would have been the criteria that would have led to a stronger choice and made that choice have stronger impact in the past. You would have overcome your identity today to build a real identity in the past, if that makes sense. What we need to do is figure out how we can shift back to that style, because so many people build an identity, but it doesn't satisfy them and they don't respect themselves for it. Who you are should be a declaration. It should make you proud of yourself. It should make you proud of your accomplishments, not in an unhealthy way, but in a, this is what I have done. Your identity should be the story of yourself. Now, if your story was simply, I was born and here I am, with your innate characteristics, or I was born and people did things to me and here I am, or I was born and had a disease and here I am, that's not a compelling story. And that's the reason many people escape into entertainment media and identify more with characters and obsess over characters. It's the reason people obsess over politics, hoping someone else will solve their problems for them. It's the reason people believe that they are not able to solve their own problems or even make strong choices in their own lives. These are the reasons that we need to focus on building our identity based on our choices. So how do we do that? We start building our identity based on the principles that we have, based on what true value we have in our heart that we want to carry forward and give to the lives of others, the way we want to reshape the world, the way we want to overcome and redefine the problems that have held us back. These could come from innate things. You could be born, I'm thinking of stories, inspiring stories of people born with no arms. So they redefine themselves by learning to use their feet, and they become magnificent painters using their feet, and they hold the brush with their toes. I've seen fantastic works from those people. They are not defined by what came to them and what happened to them at birth, how they were born. They are defined by the works they have done in spite of what was done. And that is a key difference. Americans today stop on the first piece of innate characteristics and what has happened. We do not go on to what we have chosen. And that is a key reason a lot of people hate themselves. A lot of people just don't like themselves, don't respect themselves, are embarrassed, have social anxiety. To some extent, social anxiety is built on feeling like you have no character and no accomplishments. Who would want to hear from me? That's also a piece of the reason that we have so many identity politics and tension in the identity today. We have to define ourselves by innate characteristics because we feel we have nothing else. Now, that's not to say that identities are bad. It's not to say that innate characteristics are bad. Please don't take that from this video. What I want is for you to take from this video that your principles define you. The choices you make and the choices you make based on those principles is what is interesting about you. That is what is interesting about you. That tells other people when they meet you, that is the story of you. That is the story of why they should trust you. That's the story of why they want to be your friend. That's the story of why they should respect you, because of the choices you have made and the hardships you have overcome, the things you have done in spite of your innate problems. That's the key difference. So, how do you find those principles? You think about what you admire. They could be characters in movies, on television shows, books. Characters who have traits that you wish you had. People living a life you wish you lived. People doing things you wish you had done or could do. Find what they are doing. Describe them. Write down 3 to 5 words that describe that person, the traits about them that you admire. They're courageous, they're compassionate, they're loving, they're forgiving, they are merciful, they are dedicated, they are whatever it might be. Even if you don't know, even if you can't find the word, write down something they did. They kept going when they were hurt. They told the truth even when it cost them something. They loved their family even when their family did wrong to them. Whatever those traits might be, write them down. Those are choices you admire. Those are choices that are important to you. If you don't do those things when your choice comes, you will not respect yourself. You will feel like you have to fashion an identity from how you were born and what has happened to you because your choices have been shaming to you. They've been shameful to you. You are ashamed of the choices you have made. That's a terrible way to live. And that's what attachment does, is it makes us believe that we have to make decisions other people want us to make. It tells us that if we make the decisions we want according to our principles, people will abandon us, and that would hurt worse than death, so we have to give up our principles. So we have no identity. That's why we have to escape in the media. That's why different franchises become more important than life and death. That's why characters feel more like our family than our own family does. Is because for a moment we can feel powerful. For a moment we can imagine what it would feel like to live to our principles. If that is you, you can make this change. Find your principles. Choose to do what other people have done. Even once, you will notice how good it feels. Yes, there is a cost. There's always a cost. That's why they're principles. But if you can start living that way, you can start redefining yourself. And not in 10 years. You can define yourself today. If you have been a domestic violence victim, if that has been your identity up till now, I was a victim of domestic violence. That does not have to be your identity tomorrow. You can say, I experienced domestic violence and I was a domestic violence victim, but now I speak out about domestic violence. I counsel people who have domestic violence. I help out at shelters. I help out at group homes for kids who have experienced that. That would be a defining choice. I am a person who helps people when they are hurting. I am a person who helps children. I am a person who helps victims of domestic violence because I overcame that myself, and I want to make sure nobody else experiences that. That is a powerful story of self. That is a powerful identity, and that is something you can be proud of. And when people hear it, they want to know you. That's the difference. That's how you build that identity that matters. Thank you for listening to this talk. If you've enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel, hit like, leave me a comment with more things you'd like to hear about. If you want to talk to me, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm all over the place. Look for Adam Lane Smith. I'm also on TikTok now, of all things. If you've enjoyed this, please stick around. Please come back. I love hearing from you. Thank you very much.